when the Detroit Tigers front office made the heart-wrenching decision to trade away Tarik Skubal. At the deadline, everyone around Major League Baseball thought this team was waving the white flag on the 2026 season. You could feel the collective air being completely sucked out of Comerica Park when the news broke. Fans were terrified that the starting rotation was going to completely collapse without their undisputed ace leading the charge. But if you have been paying attention to what manager A.J. Hinch has been building inside that clubhouse, you know that this team thrives on pure unfiltered toughness. And today, on August 8, 2026, the Tigers are about to unleash the ultimate secret weapon to completely revitalize their playoff push. We are talking about the highly anticipated return of Jackson Jobe. This is not just a regular prospect getting a spot start to eat up some innings. This is the arrival of a potential generational talent stepping onto the mound against the San Francisco Giants in a game that feels absolutely massive for the morale of this entire franchise. But if you think Jobe is just going to ease his way back into action, wait until you see the absolute fireworks he is bringing to the mound today. Let us take a deep dive into the Sabermetrics that make Jackson Jobe one of the most terrifying young pitchers in the game right now. For months, we have been watching him absolutely dominate hitters during his minor league rehab assignments while recovering from that stint on the 60-day injured list. Just look back at his recent outing on August 2nd for the Ohio West Michigan Whitecaps. He tossed for innings and struck out 5 batters while making professional hitters look completely foolish. But the raw box score does not even begin to tell the full story of his dominance. You have to look closely at the TrackMan data to understand why scouts are completely drooling over this kid. When Jobe steps into his windup and unleashes his four-seam fastball, it explodes out of his hand at 97 to 98 miles per hour. That is not just normal velocity. That is heavy sinking pure gas. That overwhelms hitters before they even have a chance to start their swing. But the real nightmare for opposing lineups is his signature sweeper slider. When you look at the slow-motion replay of that breaking ball, it is spinning at a mind-boggling rate of over 3,000 revolutions per minute. That elite spin rate creates a horizontal break of 15 to 17 inches across the strike zone. It is pure filth. When you are a batter standing in the box trying to track that pitch, it starts right down the middle of the plate and then violently sweeps off the edge into the dirt at the very last millisecond. You physically cannot adjust your swing path in time. The pitch tunneling mechanics that Jobe possesses are already at an elite major league level. He throws that 98-mile-per-hour fastball and that sweeping slider from the exact same release point. So, when the hitter has to make a split-second decision, they are completely guessing. If they sit back to wait on the slider, he just blows the fastball right past them for high cheese. If they try to cheat and catch up to the fastball, he drops that 3,000 spin rate slider, and they end up helplessly flailing at air. But throwing a 3,000 spin rate slider with 17 inches of horizontal break is only half of the equation. You desperately need an elite backstop who can actually handle that kind of ridiculous movement and steal strikes on the edges of the zone. And that is exactly where all-star catcher Dillon Dingler comes into the picture. Dingler is having an absolute breakout season in 2026. Not just with his bat, but with his elite pitch framing abilities behind the plate. Dingler has proven time and time again that he can perfectly present those borderline pitches to the umpire to get those crucial strike calls. And let us not forget what Dingler brings to the offensive side of the ball. He has been an absolute powerhouse, launching 26 massive home runs and driving in 79 RBIs. Having a guy like Dingler wearing number 13 behind the dish provides a massive blanket of security for a young pitcher like Jobe. It allows Jobe to completely trust his stuff and attack the zone without worrying about throwing wild pitches in the dirt. That pitcher-catcher dynamic is going to be absolutely critical in completely shutting down the Giants' hitters today. The San Francisco Giants are rolling into town, looking to completely derail the Tigers' momentum after handing them a tough 5-2 loss just yesterday on August 7th. The Giants lineup has been incredibly pesky and they know exactly how to grind down young pitchers by working deep into the count. But the real storyline of today's matchup is the guy taking the mound for San Francisco. The Giants are handing the baseball to right-handed pitcher Landen Roupp, who has been having a very up-and-down season in 2026. Roupp comes into this Saturday showdown with a 7-10 record and a 4.3 for ERA over 118 innings of work. He has struck out 120 batters but is 1.9. WHIP shows that he can definitely be vulnerable when teams put traffic on the base paths. The Tigers' offense is going to have a massive opportunity to do some serious damage against Roupp if they can remain disciplined at the plate. Guys like Riley Green and Colt Keith have been absolutely vital in driving this offense forward, and they need to set the tone early in the first few innings. When you look at what Riley Green has been doing at the plate this season, it is nothing short of spectacular. Green is currently slashing a .276 batting average with 16 home runs and an elite .825 OPS. But when you look under the hood at his StatCast metrics, it gets even more impressive. He is boasting a massive 49% hard hit rate and an average exit velocity of 90.8 miles per hour. Green is the heart and soul of this lineup, and his elite plate discipline is exactly what the Tigers need to rattle Landen Roupp early in the game. And you cannot talk about the Tigers' youth movement without highlighting the quiet confidence of young slugger Colt Keith, wearing that number 33 jersey. Keith has already blasted 8 home runs and continues to deliver clutch hits when the pressure is at its absolute highest. The chemistry between these young hitters is palpable. They are not just playing out the string, they are fighting tooth and nail for every single run. If Green and Keith can string together some quality at-bats and hand Jackson Jobe and early lead, the energy inside the stadium is going to be absolutely electric. This is exactly the kind of high-pressure situation that tests the true character of a young prospect. Jackson Jobe is not just pitching for a win today, he is pitching to prove that he is the undisputed future of this franchise. The expectations are astronomically high, but Jobe has the exact kind of fierce competitive mentality that A.J. Hinch loves. When he gets that intense, steely-eyed look on the mound, you know he is preparing to go to war against every single batter. The crowd is going to be hanging on every single strike call and every single swing and miss. You can expect the atmosphere to feel like a high-stakes playoff game because the fans in Detroit are starving for a new pitching hero to rally behind. If Jobe can establish his fastball command early and unleash that devastating slider to sit batters down, the Giants are going to be in for an incredibly long and frustrating afternoon. This Saturday matchup is a massive turning point for the Detroit Tigers season. It is a true test of their resilience and a glimpse into the incredibly bright future of their starting rotation. Will Jackson Jobe step up to the plate and absolutely shut down the Giants lineup to prove he is the new ace of Detroit? Or will the pressure of returning to the big leagues against a gritty San Francisco squad prove to be too much of a challenge? I want to know exactly what you guys are thinking about this massive game today. How many strikeouts do you predict Jackson Jobe will rack up in his highly anticipated return? Let me know your boldest score predictions down in the comments section below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the Sabermetrics and the electric pitch arsenal of Jackson Jobe, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to Comerica Deep Dive Detroit Tigers for more daily coverage.